I'm noticing, I looked on the Cal Poly admissions where you can see everything, and it's a little bit different than the sheet. It actually has civil and environmental broken up, but on here it has everything mushed together. So can I use this environmental side and apply that to my civil?
Let's look. So what's your major?
Civil engineering.
Okay. And civil and environmental are grouped together on that sheet?
Online on that they are, but on here, like say, you know, for the environmental it has engineering 25, which is graphics and design. I was going to use that for my major 2, but that's in the major 2 of the environmental engineering from this packet.
So you're civil engineering?
Mm-hmm.
And it's your, what class are you talking about?
The engineering 25 that's listed in the major 2 section of the environmental engineering.
Of environmental, okay.
So could I see,
I see.
can I apply that for my major 2 of civil engineering, since it actually is listed online?
Yes, because, yes, and that's a correction we need to make, right. Yeah, so you see that the CAD is listed right there? So you could put it in there.
Okay, and it's an engineering 25. Karen, do you think that would apply, Karen? Is that like?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because that was.
It's CAD, right? You're doing CAD? Yeah, you're doing CAD in the class, plug it in there.
Perfect.
So that's good. We should add that to, for civil engineering, for the major related 2, you want to add the engineering 25. Okay. Yeah. This CAD always gets a little buried under here on the document. Okay, so you're double checking between what it says on the selection criteria and how you're filling out this section of the application. Any other specific questions? I hope that was helpful.
I'm just wondering, and it's more about the guide, what does NEC stand for?
No equivalent course.
No equivalent course.
Okay.
Sometimes you might see NA,
Right.
which is what your notation, right? And then I decided I'd just make it NEC, but I can't guarantee that I'm going to do that.
So that question that you had about the civil and the environmental is a really good one. I mean, the document that I handed Kate was like, 15 years in the making of students working through this process and going, well, can I use this class here? Can I use that class there? And ours had, real elaborate classes everywhere. So that's something that you as a college might want to work on, is as you have those questions, relay that feedback back so that you can incorporate it into your guide.
Oh yeah, please tell
Yeah.
me if there's a. The other thing is if they change something here or in the selection criteria, then we've got to make sure that this gets updated every year.
Right.
And so it can get stale if something out there changes and we haven't gotten to making the updates.
Right.
Then I'd like to add one last thing in that third column on civil engineering. We should probably have engineering 1A, which is surveying.
Yeah,
It's in
we
the-
don't have surveying, you guys probably do. We don't, so it wasn't on our list, right? She just kind of looked at our list. She was using our document to start with.
Okay,
Yeah.
but
we don't have surveying.
but then
Yeah.
I could use that
Absolutely.
as my third.
Absolutely, yep.
I'm still a little unclear about if you can apply both for fall and spring at Cal Poly, because like on the thing it only said fall. So do they only take students in fall?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they haven't been admitting any other terms for about 7 or 8 years now.
Okay, so that puts me in an interesting place because I have this semester at Clio and then I need 2 more, which would set me up to transfer in spring, right? So that would mean either like doing another semester here or just going elsewhere, right?
Doing another semester here, or you could go elsewhere, or you could take the semester off and, work. You don't want to work, I don't advise my students to work too much because you don't want to mess up financial aid potentially. But,
Okay.
yeah.
On
I
the
did that,
on
I
the,
took a term
on the
off.
front of the packet, it says, applying to Cal Poly summer, February 1 to 28, or winter.
Oh, when it says the dates, is that what it says?
Yeah.
Right here, you're talking? Yeah, so we legally have to list list all of the application time periods, but we know that Cal Poly has historically been closed for every single admissions process except for fall, for a long time. I mean, when I started, they only did summer and fall admissions, and then they closed summer. So, was there a question over here?
Yeah, so if it's on, if classes are on 6, but they're not on this required
Yes.
page, then we don't necessarily have to complete them, because for mine, I'm doing biomedical, and I don't see I'm just doing bio 6, microbiology, and bio 1A, for 6. But I don't think I have to for, the required classes.
Okay, so, let's do this. I'm sorry, what was the major?
Biomedical, engineering.
Biomedical, okay. Okay, so English composition and speech, all the calculus, see the linear algebra listed there. The general physics and then the chemistry scores there. And then for your major related, the statics, the materials, the computer science, and the electrical circuits. So you're right in that they're not screening for the admissions process for any of those bio classes. But what that would mean is if you don't do them here, you do them there. Because assist is what you need for graduation. So you have to get them done before you can get your bachelor's degree. But those courses would not be looked at for admissions process. So that there's a judgment call, right?
Right, there's a few classes that aren't required for admissions, but are required for graduation. I just don't want to take like 25 units next semester.
But here's the glitch, and this is a really important point. I made the assumption many years ago that if it wasn't listed here,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have to list it on the application. Not true. If you take them here and you get good grades in them, you still list them under the bio section of the application.
Right.
Okay? So, because you're technically a class that you took a grade. So,
So for electrical engineering major related part 1, if you have more than one computer science class, do you just go ahead and put one, or do you put all the ones you've taken?
okay, so what was the major again?
Electrical?
For electrical engineering?
Yeah.
Okay. So, for the fundamentals of computer science, it's looking for a course that articulates with the CSC 101. Okay? Which for you guys is the 11 or the 19. What? Oh.
I don't think it's a typo, but I think I finished up.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's a typo?
Because CS11 is beginning C++ and 12J is beginning Java. CS19 is intermediate C++. You have the intermediate C++ and intermediate Java together in the second column, and then you have beginning C++ and intermediate C++ in the first column, which doesn't make sense if you're not including it all.
Let's check assist. Assist will tell us. So Cabrillo to Cal Poly for electrical
Well,
engineering.
I always do go by. Now don't go by.
Okay, so it's asking for the, it's right there. So it said whatever's equivalent to this class, which is according to Cal Poly 11 and the 19. That's what they've articulated, so it's correct. Now, to answer your question, do you list other classes there? The rules of the application would say you just need to list the 11 or the 19. If you had other classes that you got good grades in, that fit into that general category, sometimes I'll have my students list them.
So you mentioned financial aid earlier. What are the
Oh my
financial aid
gosh.
prospects?
It's a whole other, what?
What kind of prospects are there for financial aid? How hard is it to get? What are the
Well, okay, so financial aid is like a whole nother 2-hour presentation to understand the process. But, I mean, it's a CSU, and so it's gonna be based on what the federal government, through the FAFSA process, determines your need are, and what your age is, whether you're dependent or independent, and what when the school receives your information, what kind of package they can develop for you. But most of my MESA students get really good financial aid at Cal Poly. You know, they get a lot of state grants and Pell Grant and Cal Grant, that kind of stuff.
The Mesa members?
What?
The Mesa members?
Yeah, but Mesa are low-income first-generation students, so they're gonna qualify. So, but I can talk to you more about financial aid if you want me to talk to you more specifically about your situation. Yeah. So the way you get tapped into Cal Poly scholarships is you have to fill out the FAFSA, and then once you fill out the FAFSA with Cal Poly, they'll screen you for scholarships. There's no additional application.
My question is actually for some of the counselors in here. There was some
Looks like they're all gone.
Yeah, it looked, I was like, wait. Okay. Well, I feel like I still need to get a couple things that might be from a counselor, like I need to pull, I have a previous college, and there's some classes, so I need to pull my transferable GPA, so I can't really move too much forward in this. Is anyone available, like, are we gonna be making commitments?
So this is what my advice is to you, is you just put in like 3.0 in there or something, just put a placeholder for now.
Yeah,
Move on with the application and just make sure that you follow through to get it correct.
okay.
You might want to look at that on her express appointment schedule, because they use a little blue piece of paper
Yeah,
and
yep.
use all your time.
Do you have walk-in type basis?
Yeah.
They
I
can
think
probably run it
that
for you. Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Like our classes below, what I need from you.
Are you gonna do you have to?
Okay, so that's where the counseling process comes into place, right? And so when I work with my students, sometimes it's a matter of strategizing and kind of like, okay, I'm gonna throw out some applications this year and kind of see what happens. And then in May, I'll see where I'm doing, how I'm doing, and maybe I stay and complete those and then reapply.
Yeah, that was one of my questions. You
Yeah.
recommend doing that. Like, if you really want to go to Cal Poly, you recommend waiting a year and reapplying before you.
I would recommend, I would recommend, okay, so if you're missing any of the required classes, it's not worth applying, spending the money back, let's be real with that. If it's desired, it's worth throwing an application in and seeing what happens. If you don't get in, and you say, you know what, yeah, I'm okay staying at Cabrillo, getting some more, strengthening what I have, getting more of those desired classes, and reapplying, but applying more applying broadly, then that's fine. Yeah, that's great. I have, sometimes my students apply 3 or 4 times. We just strategize along the way.
You talked a lot about reapplying just there, and then also before, and I heard in another presentation that they keep track of how many times you apply to all the, not Cal Poly specifically, but all colleges do somehow. Like they know how many, they ask where you've applied before at some point, and they know that somehow. And if you are dishonest, it counts against you or something.
Okay,
You know
well,
what I mean? Like
okay,
you,
so.
not dishonest, but if you aren't accurately representing how many times you're applying and then maybe not getting in.
That actually sounds like a bunch of different information that's kind of misleading. Let me see if I can clarify it. So when you apply to a college, whether you get in or don't get in, of course they probably track if you applied there before. They ask on the application, have you applied there before? Have you attended here? That kind of. None of that helps or hinders your application process for that specific term applying again. Okay, even if you got in and you didn't show up and you reapplied later that year or 2 years later or 3 years later, none of that helps or hurts you. What can hurt you is if you've attended other colleges or universities and you don't report that on the application anywhere. Even if you withdrew completely from that school, you have to report it. I don't know if that helps.
I think that's what I was, the clarification I was thinking.
Yeah. So, like I've had students say, well, that was when I was like 18 and I got all D's, I just want to forget that happened. You can't. We have to deal with it. But there's things you can do to deal with it. You can ask for academic renewal, you know, you can go back and you can repeat the classes. I mean, there's things you can do to address it.
So if, say, you had like a semester here at Cabrillo that you just, something happened and was just detrimental to your GPA and all of your classes that was
Yeah.
outside of your ability to control,
Yeah.
is there anything that could be done about that?
So detrimental in that you got D's and F's kind of thing, or
Yeah.
detrimental in that you got W's?
Yes.
Okay, because W's aren't detrimental, but sometimes people think they are. Well, they aren't in the CSU process. Say that. Sometimes it can show as detrimental, but don't worry about it. Do you guys have an academic renewal process?
Yes.
Yeah. So you have an academic renewal process that you can go through. For our campus, it's 1 year's gone by. I don't know if it's 1 or 2. It might
It's
be
in
2.
the catalog, it's spelled out.
I
Yeah.
heard that it was 3 years.
Yeah, I think it's longer here.
Wow, okay, so it's how many years have gone by, and you have to complete a certain amount of units with a certain GPA since that time. They can do academic renewal on it.
And then you have to retake the classes to make it go away?
Or, no, if you get you either academic renewal or you repeat. You don't do both. Or,
If you repeat the courses, do they cover up the times that you failed?
they don't cover it up, but it's not calculated in the GPA. So they code it that it's been repeated, and then it's not calculated into your GPA.
So then does Cal Poly calculate that in your admissions?
So that's a really good point too. If anything's been academic renewal or repeated on your transcript, you don't plug it into that area. You don't plug it into the application.
But it is calculated in your overall GPA? No?
Not if it's repeated or academic renewal. At least on my campus, and that's true, that's Title V. So that's true for all of us. Now, sometimes if you've taken classes like 3 and 4 times and then you're repeating it, some of that can, if it's the same class over and over again, sometimes that can calculate.
What if you do that over and over and over and consistently get good grades and you just like the class?
I never can't do that anymore. Repeatability's gone. Yes. Yes. Either one, I don't care.
Okay, there's this whole application on CSU Mentor, and is that all we're completing for Cal Poly? So is there no personal statement?
Not for CSU. There's no personal statement for CSU.
Oh, okay,
You don't even send in your transcripts till they ask you to.
and that goes for all Cal State?
All CSUs have no personal statements for admissions purposes.
Is there a way to get one to them?
No. That's a good question. A lot of people say, well, can I send in letters of recommendation? No, they have to be completely objective. So, and that's a subjective element.
So you were